Istanbul, November 2018. The rain was not the romantic, cleansing kind that poets wrote about. It was a cold, miserable slurry that turned the dust of the ancient city into a slick, gray paste. It coated the windshields of the taxis gridlocked on the Galata Bridge and soaked into the coats of the thousands of commuters rushing toward the ferries. For Reza Agajanian, the rain was just another variable to be managed, another layer of noise in a city that was already deafening. Reza was a man who prided himself on control. He was a ghost in a city of 15 million people, a businessman on paper, an importer of high-end Persian rugs and textiles. In reality, he was a senior handler for Unit 840 of the Quds Force, the extraterritorial arm of the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps. He had spent 10 years building a life that was aggressively boring. He paid his taxes, he chatted with his neighbors about the rising cost of eggplant, and he drove a mid-range sedan that no one would look at twice. His tradecraft was impeccable. He never discussed business on the phone. He never met his assets in the same place twice. He used a rotating system of dead drops and cutouts that would have impressed a KGB veteran from the Cold War. But Reza had one weakness, one that plagues intelligence operatives and civilians alike: reliance on technology that was manufactured by the lowest bidder. It was 4:15 p.m. The operational window was tight. Reza was sitting in his car, parked 3 blocks away from a busy square in the Fatih district. The heater was humming, fighting a losing battle against the damp chill. In his lap sat a burner phone, a cheap plastic device purchased with cash 3 months ago in a bazaar in Ankara. It was strictly for emergency signals, a lifeline device meant to receive a simple coded SMS from an asset operating in Tel Aviv. The message was due at 4:15 p.m. exactly. Reza watched the digital clock on the dashboard. 4:14, 4:15. The phone remained silent. He waited. In the intelligence world, punctuality is a religion. A minute late could mean traffic. 5 minutes late could mean a surveillance team had closed the net. 10 minutes late usually meant the asset was already in a basement somewhere, answering questions they didn't want to answer. 4:17 p.m. Nothing. Reza frowned. He picked up the cheap handset and pressed the wake button. The screen illuminated with a harsh blue light. He looked at the top right corner, expecting to see the signal bars indicating a connection to the local Turkcell network. Instead, he saw a message that made his stomach drop. No SIM card installed. He blinked. He shook the phone slightly. A primitive human reaction to digital failure. The message remained. No SIM card installed. Panic, cold and sharp, spiked in his chest. This device was his only link to the architect, an asset currently deep within Israel's industrial sector, preparing for an operation that had taken 2 years to plan. If he missed the check-in, the protocols dictated that the asset would go dark, aborting the mission and destroying all materials. 2 years of work would evaporate because a piece of plastic the size of a fingernail had decided to fail. Reza popped the back cover off the phone. His fingers, usually steady, trembled slightly. He removed the battery, slid the metal gate of the SIM slot back, and carefully took out the card. It looked fine. No scratches, no corrosion. He blew on the contacts, another superstition, and reinserted it. Battery in, cover on, power up. The boot up animation played. The blue light washed over his face. Searching for service. He held his breath. No service. Reza cursed in Farsi, slamming his hand against the steering wheel. This wasn't enemy action. This wasn't Mossad kicking down his door. This was a technical malfunction. A 50-cent piece of circuitry had degraded in the humidity or had simply been part of a bad batch. He checked his watch. 4:22 p.m. The abort window opened at 4:30 p.m. He had 8 minutes to establish a connection, or the operation was dead. He couldn't use his personal phone. That would link his clean identity to the operation immediately. He couldn't find a payphone. They were practically extinct, and he didn't have the number memorized. Only the SIM card had the encrypted contact stored. He needed this SIM card to work. He made a decision born of desperation, a decision that violated the rigid safety protocols he had followed for a decade. He put the car in gear and pulled out into traffic, heading toward a small electronics shop he knew on the corner of the next street. It was a risk, a massive one. But the alternative was explaining to Tehran why a $1 million operation failed because his phone was broken. Reza didn't know it yet, but as he merged into the rainy Istanbul traffic, he wasn't just driving to a repair shop. He was driving straight into the history books of espionage tradecraft. 800 miles away, in a windowless room beneath the arid ground of the Negev desert, the air conditioning hummed with a sterile, constant drone. This was the listening post of Unit 8200, the Israeli Intelligence Corps unit responsible for collecting signal intelligence. The room was bathed in the glow of dozens of monitors. Young men and women, most of them barely out of their teens but possessing the technical aptitude of doctoral candidates, sat in rows wearing heavy noise-canceling headphones. They were scanning the ether, watching waterfalls of data cascade down their screens. Encrypted radio bursts from Syria, microwave transmissions from Lebanon, and the ceaseless digital chatter of the internet. At Station 44, a corporal named Yael was monitoring a specific frequency band. It was a garbage band, usually filled with the noise of cheap electronics, baby monitors, and older cellular devices. But Yael had flagged an anomaly 3 weeks prior. A specific IMI, the unique identity number of a mobile handset, had been pinging towers in Istanbul at rigorous intervals. It never made voice calls. It never browsed the web. It only received encrypted SMS bursts and then went silent. It was the discipline that caught her eye. Normal people are erratic. They check Instagram, they call their mothers, they order food. This device was a machine used by a machine. Target merchant has gone active, Yael said into her headset, her voice calm. On her screen, a red line spiked. The device in Istanbul had powered on. "Copy that, Station 44, came the voice of the shift supervisor. "Logging activity." "Wait," Yael said, leaning closer to the screen. "He's cycling power. On, off, on, off." The red line jagged up and down. "He's having trouble," the supervisor noted, stepping up behind Yael's chair. "He's not connecting to the network." Yael analyzed, her fingers flying across her keyboard to bring up the diagnostic metadata that the cellular network exchanged with the phone. "The tower is rejecting the handshake. It looks like a hardware failure on the SIM. He can't authenticate." The supervisor crossed his arms. "If he can't authenticate, he can't receive the package." "He's panicking," Yael said. "Look at the power cycles. Rapid succession. He's taking the battery out and putting it back in. He's desperate." This was the moment intelligence agencies lived for. When a target is calm and following protocol, they are invisible. When they are panicked and fighting technology, they make mistakes. They become human. "Get the Caesarea desk on the line," the supervisor ordered, referring to the Mossad Special Operations Division. "Tell them Merchant is having a technical meltdown. If he moves to fix it, we need eyes on him now." The supervisor watched the screen. The signal from the device stopped cycling. It had gone dark. "He's moving," Yael said, tracking the triangulation data from the last attempted ping. "He's leaving the containment zone." In Tel Aviv, the information traveled up the chain of command with lightning speed. The Merchant was a high-value target, suspected of being a regional hub for Iranian intelligence. Mossad had been content to watch him, to learn the rhythm of his network. But a technical failure changed the calculus. If he fixed the phone, business continued as usual. But if he tried to fix it outside of his secure protocols, he exposed himself. "We have a golden minute," the supervisor said, using the term for a fleeting window of opportunity. "Send the alert to the Istanbul station. Tell them to drop everything. We need to know where he takes that phone." The machinery of the Israeli intelligence apparatus, often compared to a heavy sledgehammer, could also move with the precision of a scalpel. Within seconds, encrypted directives were beaming via satellite to a secure server in a safehouse in the Besiktas district of Istanbul. The hunt was on. Avner lit a cigarette, cupping his hand against the wind coming off the Bosphorus. He was standing under the awning of a closed bakery, looking for all the world like a tourist waiting for the rain to stop. He wore a faded denim jacket, dark jeans, and boots that were comfortable for running. He looked 40, though he was only 32. The lines around his eyes were the result of too many nights spent staring at apartment windows and too much coffee consumed in parked cars. Avner was a Katsa, a field intelligence officer for the Mossad. He had been stationed in Istanbul for 2 years. operating under the cover of a freelance logistical consultant for European shipping firms. It was a boring enough cover to be believable, but flexible enough to explain why he was always moving around the city at odd hours. His earpiece, an invisible induction loop that sat deep in his ear canal, crackled. "Control to Pilgrim. You have a proximity alert." Avner didn't move his head. He took a drag of the cigarette. "Go ahead, Control." "Target merchant is mobile. Technical distress. He is moving west on Adnan Menderes Boulevard. We believe he is seeking technical support for a comms device. Intercept and observe. Do not engage." "Copy," Avner whispered. He dropped the cigarette and crushed it with his heel. He walked to a gray scooter parked nearby, the best way to navigate Istanbul traffic, and put on his helmet. He mounted the bike and merged into the chaos of the street. The merchant was Reza Agajanian. Avner knew him well, though they had never met. Avner knew that Reza liked his tea with 2 sugars. He knew Reza had a slight limp in his left leg when it rained, likely an old injury. He knew Reza was careful. "He is pulling over," Control updated him. "Sector 4, near the Valens Aqueduct. There is a cluster of electronics shops there." Avner revved the engine, weaving between a bus and a taxi. "ETA 2 minutes. He is parking. He is exiting the vehicle. He is entering a shop called Yildiz GSM. Small storefront. 1 entrance." "I have the visual," Avner said. He slowed the scooter, pulling up onto the sidewalk 50 meters down from the shop. He killed the engine. Through the rain-streaked window of the shop, he could see Reza. The Iranian looked agitated. He was leaning over the glass counter, gesturing at something in his hand. The shopkeeper, a heavy-set man with a mustache, was scratching his head, holding a magnifying glass. Avner's heart rate slowed. This was the work, the waiting, the observing. But his mind was racing. If Reza was desperate enough to walk into a random shop with an operational device, the SIM card wasn't just broken, it was critical. "Control, he's handing the device to the civilian," Avner reported. "Copy, Pilgrim. Is the civilian connecting it to anything?" "Negative. Looks like he's inspecting the hardware. He's taking the SIM out. He's cleaning it." Avner watched as the shopkeeper tried to put the SIM into a test phone. He shook his head. He said something to Reza. Reza looked like he was about to scream. "The card is dead," Avner surmised. "He needs a clone. If he clones it there, we lose the crypto keys," Control said, the voice tight. "We need that card, Pilgrim, or we need to be the ones who clone it." "I can't go in there," Avner said. "He knows faces. He'll make me." "Hold position. Team 2 is inbound. We have a tech with them." A tech was a specialist from the Yahalem unit, experts in breaking and entering, safe cracking, and on-the-fly engineering. Reza was pacing inside the shop. He checked his watch. He was running out of time. The shopkeeper pointed to a sign on the wall, then pointed to the back room. He was offering to try a more invasive repair, perhaps soldering a contact. Reza hesitated. If he let the phone out of his sight, he violated protocol. But if he didn't fix it, the operation failed. Reza nodded. The shopkeeper took the phone and the SIM into the back room. "Target has separated from the device," Avner said. "Civilian has taken it to the back office." "Opportunity," Control said. "Pilgrim, create a diversion. Team 2 is 2 minutes out. We need to stall the merchant." Avner looked around. A wet street, a fruit stand, a delivery truck backing up. "I'm going in," Avner said. "Negative, Pilgrim. Cover is too thin." "I'm not going in as me," Avner said. He reached into the storage compartment of his scooter and pulled out a reflective vest and a clipboard. He ruffled his hair, took off his jacket to reveal a plain t-shirt, and put on the vest. He looked like a delivery driver or a municipal worker. He walked toward the shop. He didn't need to steal the phone. He just needed to make sure Reza didn't leave before the specialists arrived. The bell above the door chimed as Avner entered Yildiz GSM. The air inside smelled of stale tobacco and ozone, the scent of heated solder. Reza spun around, his eyes wide and alert. His hand instinctively went to his belt, though he wasn't armed. He scanned Avner instantly. Wet boots, reflective vest, bored expression. A worker. Reza relaxed slightly. Avner ignored him. He walked straight to the counter and rang the service bell aggressively. "Hello? Anyone working?" Avner shouted in fluent street-level Turkish. accenting it with the impatience of a man late for his next delivery. Reza stepped forward. "He is in the back. He is busy. I don't care if he's praying to the Sultan," Avner grumbled, slamming his clipboard on the counter. "I have a package for Yildiz. Needs a signature. I'm double parked." Reza looked at the clipboard. It was a generic manifest. "He will be out in a minute." "I don't have a minute," Avner said, leaning over the counter and shouting toward the back curtain. "Hey, Yildiz, cargo!" The shopkeeper poked his head out from the curtain, looking annoyed. "What? What is this shouting?" "Package," Avner said. "Sign here." "I didn't order anything," the shopkeeper said, wiping grease on a rag. "It says Yildiz GSM, right? Don't waste my time, Abi." While they argued, Avner was doing something subtle. He had positioned himself so that his body blocked Reza's view of the front window. Outside, a black van had pulled up silently to the curb. "I am working on a customer's device," the shopkeeper said, pointing at Reza. "Wait." "I wait for no one," Avner said, escalating the argument. "You sign, or I mark it, refused, and you pick it up at the depot in Kartal." Reza intervened. "Just sign the paper so he leaves," he hissed at the shopkeeper. "My phone." "Is it fixed?" "I am trying," the shopkeeper said. "The chip is damaged. I have to bridge the connection." "Do it," Reza ordered. The shopkeeper signed Avner's clipboard angrily. "Give me the box." Avner reached into his messenger bag and pulled out a small cardboard box. It was empty, a prop he kept for moments exactly like this. He handed it over. "Have a nice day," Avner muttered, turning to leave. As he turned, he made eye contact with Reza. For a split second, the time seemed to freeze. Avner offered a dull, tired nod. Reza didn't respond. His eyes were cold, assessing. Avner exited the shop. The bell chimed. He walked to his scooter, took off the vest, and put his jacket back on. "Status," he whispered. "We have the clone," Control said. Avner froze. "Say again?" "While you were arguing, we intercepted the local cellular signal from the back room," Control explained. The shopkeeper turned on his diagnostic equipment. It broadcasts locally before hitting the tower. "Our van outside captured the handshake data. We have the IMSI and the key. The shopkeeper, unbeknownst to him, was using a wireless diagnostic tool to test the SIM. The Mossad tech team in the van had sniffed the data packets as they flew through the air of the shop. Does Reza know? Negative. The shopkeeper just told him it's unfixable. Reza is leaving now. Avner watched. Reza burst out of the shop, the broken phone in his hand, looking furious. He had failed to fix the SIM. He had missed the window. But he hadn't just failed. He had unknowingly broadcast the digital DNA of his entire network to the black van parked 10 meters away. Reza got into his car and sped off. He thought he had a broken phone. In reality, he had just handed Mossad the keys to the kingdom. Reza drove aggressively, his mind racing through contingency plans. The primary communication channel was dead. The architect in Tel Aviv would assume the operation was compromised and go to ground. Reza had to initiate the Phoenix Protocol, a manual reset of the network using physical meetings. He didn't know that the broken SIM card was no longer his biggest problem. In the back of the Mossad van, a technician named David was typing furiously on a ruggedized laptop. Connected to the computer was a SIM writer, a small device that burns data onto blank smart cards. "I have the encryption key," David said. "Writing the clone now." "Will it register on the network?" the team leader asked. "Yes, we're creating a digital twin," David explained. When Reza tried to fix it, the diagnostic tool forced the SIM to dump its memory to try and repair the sectors. "We caught the dump. It contains the contact list, the SMS archive, and the authentication keys. But the physical card is with Reza," the leader noted, "and it's broken." "That's the beauty of it," David smiled. "Since his card is physically damaged, it won't connect to the network. It won't fight us for dominance. We can bring our clone online, and the network will think we are him. We become the merchant." "Do it." David pressed enter. A progress bar filled up. Green text scrolled across the screen. "SIM write complete." David took the fresh SIM card and inserted it into a secure, isolated smartphone. He powered it on. The team held their breath, searching for service. Turkcell. Connected. A moment later, the phone buzzed, and then buzzed again, and again. A torrent of queued messages held back by the network while Reza's phone was offline began to flood into the Mossad device. "Jackpot," David whispered. The messages were encrypted, strings of alphanumeric gibberish. "Send them to crypto in Tel Aviv," the leader ordered. "I want them decrypted yesterday." Back in his car, Reza was sweating. He pulled into a side street and reached under the passenger seat. He pulled out a magnetized box attached to the frame of the car. Inside was a secondary emergency phone, a satellite device. He rarely used it because satellite signals were easier to track than cellular ones, but he had no choice. He dialed a number in Tehran. "The line is broken," he said in code when the voice answered. The tool snapped. "Repair it," the voice on the other end said, cold and unforgiving. "It is beyond repair. I am initiating Phoenix." "Understood. Proceed to Cyprus. Meet the courier. Resupply." The line clicked dead. Reza exhaled. Cyprus. He had to get to northern Cyprus. It was a safe haven, easy to enter from Turkey. There, he would meet the courier who carried new communication protocols and cash. He didn't know that Mossad was now reading his old mail, and among the messages flooding into the cloned phone was a draft saved in the outbox. A message Reza had tried to send right before the SIM died. It wasn't a complex code. It was a set of coordinates and a time. Limassol, Marina, Friday, 2200. The decryption team in Tel Aviv was some of the best in the world. They utilized a combination of brute force supercomputing and linguistic analysis to break the ciphers used by the Quds force. Within 3 hours of the interception in Istanbul, the picture began to clear. "This isn't just a handler," the lead analyst told the director of operations. "This is a regional hub." The cloned SIM card contained the digital footprints of 7 distinct operations. There was a cell in Azerbaijan monitoring energy infrastructure. There was a recruitment drive in Greece targeting refugees, and there was the architect in Tel Aviv. "Focus on the architect," the director said. "Who is he?" "We don't have a name yet," the analyst admitted. "But we have the instructions Reza sent him. They are targeting the Leviathan gas field." The room went silent. The Leviathan gas field was a strategic asset, the cornerstone of Israel's energy independence. An attack there would be catastrophic. "Kidnapping?" the director asked. "No. Sabotage. They want to blow up the pipeline controls. But to do that, they need an insider. They've been grooming a frantic engineer. The architect is the recruiter." "We need to stop this," a general said. "If we arrest the architect now," the analyst countered, "Reza knows we compromised him. He disappears and the other 6 cells go dark. We lose the whole network." "So what do you propose?" "We play him," the analyst said. "We have his phone identity. We act as the merchant. We tell the architect to hold position. We tell the cells in Azerbaijan and Greece to report in. We map the entire network, and then we take them all down at once." "And Reza?" "Reza is heading to Cyprus," the intelligence officer said, pointing to a new report. "He booked a ferry ticket under his alias. He's going to meet a courier." "Let him go," the director decided. "Send a team to Cyprus. Watch him. See who he meets. But keep the digital line alive. As far as the network knows, the merchant is still online. Kyrenia, northern Cyprus." The harbor was picturesque, lined with restaurants and fishing boats bobbing in the turquoise water. It was a place where spies felt comfortable. A geopolitical gray zone, unrecognized by most of the world, full of casinos and expats. Reza sat at a cafe, nursing a bitter coffee. He was paranoid now. He felt eyes on him everywhere. He had destroyed the broken phone, smashing it with a hammer and throwing the pieces into the Bosphorus before leaving Istanbul. He was waiting for the courier. He didn't know who it would be, only the recognition signal. A copy of Le Monde newspaper and a yellow lighter. 50 meters away, inside a rented sailboat docked in the marina, a Mossad surveillance team was watching through high-powered optics. "Subject is static," the spotter said. "He looks nervous." "He should be," the team leader, a woman named Sarah, replied. She was reviewing the feed from Tel Aviv. "We just sent a message to his Azerbaijan cell pretending to be him. They bought it. They just sent back a list of targets." "He's good," the spotter noted. He hasn't looked at his watch once. He's counting the seconds in his head. "Contact," Sarah said sharply. Walking from the west. Male, late 50s, gray suit, carrying a newspaper. The man approached Reza's table. He placed the newspaper down. He took out a yellow lighter and lit a cigarette. Reza nodded. The man sat down. "We need audio," Sarah said. "Directional mic is blocked by the wind," the tech officer replied. "I can't get a clean read." "Lip reading?" "Angle is bad." He's covering his mouth. Reza and the courier spoke for 10 minutes. It was intense. The courier handed Reza a thick envelope, likely cash and new crypto keys. Reza handed the courier a small USB drive. "That drive," Sarah said. "That's the data backup. The files he couldn't send over the phone. If that drive leaves the island, we lose the intel on the architect's identity," the spotter warned. "We can't take them here," Sarah said. "Too public. Civilians everywhere." Reza stood up. He shook hands with the courier. They parted ways. "Split the team," Sarah ordered. "Alpha stays with Reza. Bravo takes the courier. I want to know where that USB drive goes." The courier didn't go to the airport. He rented a car and drove south, crossing the Green Line into the Republic of Cyprus. This complicated things. Northern Cyprus was Turkish-controlled. The south was Greek Cypriot. Different jurisdictions, different rules. The Mossad team, carrying European passports, followed him across the border. The courier drove to a secluded villa in the hills outside Limassol. It was a fortress. High walls, cameras, security guards. "That's not a hotel," Sarah noted as they set up observation from a ridge a mile away. "That's a command post. Run the plates on the cars in the driveway," she ordered. The results came back quickly. The villa was leased to a shell company registered in Panama, but the cars belonged to the Iranian embassy in Nicosia. "This is the extraction point," Sarah realized. "They're going to smuggle the data out via diplomatic pouch. Once it's in the embassy, it's untouchable. We have to intercept before he enters the embassy," the tech officer said. "But he's already in the villa. He has to leave eventually," Sarah said. We wait. Meanwhile, back in Tel Aviv, the analysts were playing a dangerous game. Using the cloned SIM identity, they were chatting with the architect inside Israel. Mossad, as Reza. Status report required. Confirm readiness for Phase 2. Architect. Equipment in place. Access codes verified. Awaiting green light for Friday. Mossad, as Reza. Hold. New variables. Send detailed schematic of the target site for final approval. Architect. Sending now. A file transfer began. The Mossad analysts watched as the blueprints for the Leviathan control facility appeared on their screens. They zoomed in. Red circles marked the pressure valves. They aren't just sabotaging it, the analysts realized with horror. They're rigging it to overpressurize. It would be a massive explosion, a fireball visible from the coast. "We have the location," the general said. "We have the plan. Do we have the man?" "Not yet. The blueprints are anonymized. We need to catch him at the site." Friday arrived. The tension was palpable. In Cyprus, the courier left the villa. He was heading for the airport, flanked by 2 diplomatic vehicles. He was carrying the USB drive. Mossad decided to let him go. The drive contained historical data. The active threat was the architect. In Istanbul, Reza, who had returned from Cyprus, was trying to establish his new network using the codes he got from the courier. He didn't realize that his old network was currently being puppeteered by Tel Aviv. Mossad decided to execute the endgame. "Send the message," the director ordered. The analyst typed into the cloned interface. To architect. Green light authorized. Execute immediately. Tonight. 0200 hours. This was the trap. The original plan was for next week. By moving it up, they forced the architect to move while unprepared, and they ensured a reception committee would be waiting. Architect. Confirmed. Moving to site. Simultaneously, Mossad sent messages to the cells in Azerbaijan and Greece. To Azerbaijan cell. Emergency meeting. Safehouse. Beta. 0300 hours. To Greece cell. Assets compromised. Evacuate to Safehouse Gamma. 0300 hours. They were herding the sheep into the pens. 0130 a.m. The Leviathan gas terminal, northern Israel. The facility was a maze of pipes and steel towers, illuminated by harsh sodium lights. Security was tight, but the architect was an insider, a structural engineer with a valid security pass. He drove his car through the main gate, flashing his badge. The guard waved him through. He parked near the pressure control station. He didn't see the Shin Bet, Israel security agency, tactical team hidden in the shadows of the cooling towers. He didn't see the drone hovering silently 2,000 feet above. The architect walked to the control panel. He opened his laptop and connected it to the system. He began to upload the malware that would override the safety valves. "He's keyed in," the tactical commander whispered into his radio. "We have proof of intent." "Wait until he executes," the legal advisor at the command center said. "We need the log files to prove sabotage." The architect's finger hovered over the enter key. "Now," the commander ordered. The takedown was silent and violent. 3 operatives emerged from the darkness. The architect barely had time to turn his head before he was tackled, zip-tied, and dragged away from the console. His laptop was seized, the upload canceled. Simultaneously, thousands of miles away, local security forces, tipped off by Mossad intelligence, raided the safe houses in Baku and Athens. In Baku, the Azerbaijani special forces breached the door just as the Iranian cell was assembling for their emergency meeting. Flashbangs, shouting, arrests. The entire cell was captured intact. In Athens, the Greek police intercepted the recruiters as they tried to burn documents in a bathtub. The network was being dismantled in real time, piece by piece. But the final piece was Reza. Reza was in Istanbul, sleeping in a safe house. He believed his network was operating smoothly. He had received no distress signals because Mossad had intercepted them all. At 04 a.m., the Turkish MIT, National Intelligence Organization, acting on a tip from an allied service, surrounded the apartment block in Fatih. They didn't knock. They used a battering ram. Reza woke up to the barrel of a rifle in his face. He looked at the bedside table. His new satellite phone was there, silent. He never even got the chance to turn it on. The news the next day was buried in the back pages. Industrial accident averted in Israel. Arrests in Azerbaijan. Police raid in Istanbul. No one connected the dots. No one mentioned the Iranian Revolutionary Guard. No one mentioned Mossad. In the debriefing room in Tel Aviv, the analyst held up a small plastic bag. Inside was the original SIM card, or rather, a replica of the one Reza had tried to fix. "It's ironic," the director mused, looking at the tiny chip. "We spend billions on satellites, cyber warfare, and human intelligence. And the biggest bust of the decade happened because of a manufacturing defect. And because he couldn't wait," the analyst added. "He couldn't stand the silence." The architect confessed. The cells in Azerbaijan and Greece were dismantled. The data from the cloned phone provided leads that would fuel operations for another 5 years. Reza sits in a Turkish prison today, likely wondering how it all went wrong. He probably blames the shopkeeper. He probably blames the rain. He never knew that the moment he walked into that shop, he wasn't just fixing a phone. He was broadcasting his own demise. Espionage is a game of patience, technology, and human error. And in this game, a malfunctioning SIM card was the most valuable agent Mossad ever had.